All right, everybody. Sunday, December 8th, we were blessed with some incredible football yesterday. And we are blessed with an incredible guest today. This is the Sons of Saturday. We got Pat, we got Billy Ray. We are in Charlotte, North Carolina. The holiday seasons are upon us. And we are joined by Virginia Tech freshman quarterback, Pop Watson, WW3, whatever you go by. Can we get an official nickname from you? There are a lot of names floating out there. What is the official one?
Official nickname is gonna be Pop, man. Pop is like that's my go-to. Everybody back home calls me that. Only person that don't call me that still is my mother and my grandmother.
Got it. Well, Pop Watson filled in against ODU, Duke, and UVA. He got his first real run in expended play versus Duke and UVA. You accounted for 400 yards passing and 50 yards rushing, and a monumental win over UVA in the freezing cold season finale. By the way, Pop, we do have some breaking news. I don't know if your group chat has blown up about this or if you guys know this yet, but you are headed to the Duke Mayo Bowl in Charlotte.
I just
first reaction, first instinct reaction. What are you thinking?
I mean, I'm excited to go to Charlotte and get the ball in Charlotte. I mean, bowl game experience from last year. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be 10 times better in Charlotte. So I'm excited.
Queen City kids, we're fired up to have you. As we start every podcast with our Hokie haiku coming from Pete McGee. Glimpse of the future. Skipper cannon popping off. 25 loading. So, Pop, if you haven't been following, we got poetry submitted from our listeners. Want to give it a grade? 1 to 10?
Let me hear it again. I gotta hear it again.
Glimpse of the future. Skipper cannon popping off. 25 loading.
That's like, I get that like an 8.
8? Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
8, 9.
8 or 9?
8 or 9. 8 or 9.
Gotcha. Well, let's start at the beginning, Pop. Originally, you committed to Nebraska back in February of 2022, visited Virginia Tech in December, and then committed to Virginia Tech a few days later. So can you just walk us through a little bit of your commitment and your decision to ultimately sign at Virginia Tech, coming from Springfield, Massachusetts, so far away from both locations?
So the whole Nebraska situation, I was really close to the OC there, Mark Whipple, Coach Whipple. He had offered me first in like 8th grade at UMass, and then like everywhere he's been since, like he just kept offering me. So he went to Pitt the year when they were with like Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison. That year they beat Clemson. He was there. He had offered me when he was there. Then he got the job in Nebraska. He offered me as soon as he got there. I think like not even 24 hours after he got there, he offered me. So like that was my guy. All throughout high school, like I knew I wanted to play for him, and a few things just didn't work out. But while I was still committed, we have a football camp that we host at my high school during the summer. And we just have a bunch of college coaches come down and they just watch the team work out. So me being committed, I'm kind of out there. I'm like, I'm taking it serious. I got the right approach. I'm trying to make sure everybody else around me, like I'm a senior, so making sure everybody got the right approach. But at the same time, I'm kind of out there just throwing the ball and having fun. Like I'm like, all right, I already know where I'm going. Like I only got a couple more months of this, so I'm out there. I'm kind of just. It was one of those days where your arm is live, and I think like I haven't felt like this since that day. But what sold Coach Bowen was me throwing the ball, I think like 70 yards down the field. Like, no joke. Right now, if you were to line me up and tell me to do that right now, I couldn't do it. But that day, I was feeling it. I went out there. I think I faked the handoff, like slowly turned, waited for my wide receiver to get down there, and I launched it. But it was like a dime. It was crazy. So I was just having a day that whole day, and Coach Bowen wanted to keep in contact. So, me and my father were like, my father, well, it was really my father. I was like, bro, I know where I'm going. Like, I don't really care to speak with anybody. But he was like, man, you never know what can happen in these couple months. So time go by and, a couple things happen over at Nebraska. The coaches leave. So now I can't go there. So it's like, okay. Well, Virginia Tech's been recruiting me this whole time, and they've been recruiting me heavy. Like, Coach Bowen's been calling every weekend, watching every game. They done came up to games. There was one time they came up to the same game as Nebraska, and I was like, "Oh man!" But like they just seemed all in. So after all the stuff with Nebraska happened, I took a visit. up during the season. I think you guys had played Miami at home. I think this is the year 2022. 2022, you guys played Miami. And you guys did well. Like y'all kind of put yourselves behind the eight ball. Y'all fought back. And me being a coach's son, like I understand a rebuild. Like we were in a rebuild phase, so I fully understood it. And what I was just looking for was the resilience in the team, and like how I would fit in the system. So watching the game, I was like, I know like guys around me gonna be resilient. We gonna go no matter the circumstances. So once I fell in love with that, like I kind of just like everything else was a plus, like the atmosphere, the people, and then what I mean, just everybody embracing me when I came on campus. So that kind of led into me flipping to Virginia Tech because I'm big on loyalty. So they showed a lot of loyalty throughout my whole recruiting process. Like, yeah, you're the guy, you're the guy, you're the guy. So I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm gonna be.
Real quick, because you alluded to this, we were going to ask this later, but this is a good time. So Will Trent submitted this question, and he said a lot of folks are talking about how being a coach's son shows itself in your play. What do you think you've learned the most from being a coach's son, and how does that translate to success as a student athlete?
Um, Being a coach's son allows you not to get too high in your accomplishments and also not too low during your bad times. Like when I'm out on the field and like let's say I make like a great throw or I'm just having like a good game, it's kind of like you don't allow yourself to kind of get out the game and start boosting yourself because it's always another level like you could take it. Like there's always something better you could do. So that was me and my father's whole thing. Like growing up, is like, all right, you played good, but what'd you do bad in the game and how can we fix it so you don't do it again? Like the UVA game, for instance, like everybody telling me I had a great game, but there was a few things I left on that field when it comes to the deep ball. I missed two goal balls. I forgot a motion one time. Like there's just like little things that people probably won't notice because of all the good that I did. But we always try to harp on fixing the bad. So I think being a coach's son, like you apply that to everything.
Yeah, it definitely gives you the perspective as far as being a quarterback, being a leader. But I want to take it back to the beginning, Pop. Pop is quite a nickname. We haven't had a quarterback with a nickname like that in a long time.
Yeah.
What is the origination of Pop?
So my grandfather, when I was young, I would say I was probably one or two. I used to just like I was impulsive. Like if I see something and I wanted it, I would just do it. And if people try to tell me not to do it, I guess I was more like a rebel almost. Like I was gonna do it anyway. But he said like my demeanor was like an angry old man. Like I just did everything in mad. So he started calling me like Pop. Like first he started out with an S. It was like Pops. But then like we kind of, I guess him and my father just started calling me Pop, and from there on it just stuck. Like that was me. I was Pop. So that was I responded to Pop before I responded to William. So
And now you only know it's your mom or your grandma. Is that what you said? That call you William. So
they don't even. They still call me Billy. Every time I do anything good, my grandma, me and her on FaceTime, she asks me how I'm doing. It's what's up, Billy, or my mom. Good game, Billy. Like I still like the nickname Billy though. I still like it.
You're making us Billies really proud, man. As a William myself, you're making us proud. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, gotta keep living up to the hype of the Billies. It's not too
So
late out there.
outside of Pop, which is a great nickname, who else on the team do you think has a good nickname?
I like AG. Like AG, just that's a good flow. AG, uh, Chance Fitzgerald, we call him C4. So see him. Uh, APR has a lot of nicknames. Some people call him Twan. Some people call him Tweezy. Uh, Joe was hard. And who else has a good nickname? We call Takai Heath too, or we call him Dose. Yeah. There's a lot of good nicknames on the team. I'm trying to think. Teammate Tyler Mason, freshman running back, T Mace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of good nicknames. If I could say the second one, though, I would have to go with C4. Like Chance Fitzgerald probably has the second hardest nickname on the team. Oh, Caleb Woodson though. C Wood is hard. C Wood is tough. Yeah, there's a lot of good nicknames on this team. It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough.
These last few weeks, I just want to walk through kind of like your mental, because like I was talking about this with Steven Gosnell. Last like 3 to 4 weeks, we don't know who's playing. Y'all don't probably know who's playing. You're trying to practice. You're trying to get chemistry with this wide receiver core. So yourself preparing throughout the week, what was your preparation like? How is it presented to you from the coaching staff, from basically the Duke game to the UVA game? And was there a time where you knew that you were going to start at the UVA game? Like, how did that all transpire?
So, these last couple weeks, it's been, Kyron is going through his injuries. So, they've really just been harping on, really me being ready. Because, Colin, he's an older guy, so he knows how to approach a game day. And he's played in a lot of games. So, when you have two guys with a lot of experience like that, like Kyron and Colin, it's kind of easy to, to just watch and observe and, take notes, as I would say. I kind of just, I see how they prepare and what they do, and I kind of add my own swag to it because not everybody watches film the same, not everybody prepares the same. So the way I am, I'm going to watch film, and but I can't overwhelm myself with it because at the end of the day, it's football. So I want to know what I'm looking at, but you're out there like it's an instinctive game, like. So I try not to overwhelm myself with film because I feel like that causes you to think too much. So I'm gonna watch film every day, like I'm gonna get my hours in, but I feel like these coaches helped me prepare the most these last couple of weeks, just knowing I'm gonna have to go out there and I would have to help the team win.
I got a question for you on that note, because I think a lot of times the term gamer is looked at as someone who doesn't prepare, which is clearly not the case. But
Right.
I want to ask you, would you label yourself a gamer? You just said Coach Bowen shows up and you throw a 70-yard ball, and you probably couldn't do that if they had asked you to. So what do you think from a chemistry perspective is a gamer, and would you identify with that chemistry perspective?
Um, a gamer to me is somebody that's gonna show up every weekend when them lights come on. Like, and I would say I am a gamer. Like, no matter how the week of practice goes, like I know I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna execute and I'm gonna make plays. Like, I feel like that's a given. Um, I think more of is how I'm gonna do it. I kind of I kind of envision myself like if you catch me in like a team meeting, we have like a football field like across our like towards the top near the roof, and I kind of just envision myself like different things I could be doing on the field every week. So that's kind of like I would call myself a gamer, um, but I feel like the gamer phrase is also taken as well. This guy might not be a good practice guy, which I am a good practice guy. Like I show up to practice, I show up with the right energy. Like every day is not gonna be a good day of practice. Like some days you make mistakes, but that's what it's for. Like you go out there and make mistakes. But I want to show up to that game. I'm a gamer for sure.
So you go into the Virginia game off of a 3-game losing streak, and with it being a rivalry game, what was the message from the coaching staff and the general vibe going into that game? But also, what kind of confidence did the staff put in you when you knew you were going to be starting?
The whole message throughout the week was just be you. Like go play your style of ball. Like we recruited you here for a reason. Um, the coaching staff didn't really have to give me confidence. I think we all walked around with the swag we needed to. Um, and just going out there, I was excited because there's still people that have some doubt, and I see it. I don't respond to it, but I see it. So I already had a chip on my shoulder, and that just doesn't do anything but add fuel to the fire. So that I feel like that UVA game, I went out there and I did what I had to do.
So what just fascinates me about this football game is, let's keep it a buck, against Duke, 8 sacks, like it's cold. It's not a whole lot of fun to watch or to play in.
Right.
And then you come out here, everybody's like, man, UVA, and you were talking about, some people may have been doubting or whatever. Like Virginia Tech, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, wherever anybody is freaking out. Like they're like, oh man, like I don't know how we're going to come out and compete. You mosey on out there, all 5'11" of you, second highest yards per play in the entire season, 254 yards through the air, which is the second most we've had since the Vanderbilt game, which feels like a year ago. You did not turn the ball over or really put the ball in danger at all.
Right.
Like, how Stephen Gosnell talked a little bit about it, and I love this quote. He was like, we had a team meeting, and basically the message was like, we got to go out here and we got to beat these boys because it's what we do. How much of that do you think played a factor of just like, this is what we do? Virginia Tech beats UVA when we play the last game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that message kind of stuck with me. I just knew what I had to go out there and do. Like, I had to go execute, and I wasn't trying to let anybody down. I have guys like Colin who, if we lose that game, like, that's his last time ever playing football was him getting hurt against Duke. So my whole motivation was to go out there and give all my older guys another opportunity to go play ball one more time. So, going out, I was like, I already knew we wasn't gonna lose, but that whole little pregame scuffle, that, like, we needed that, like, that just kind of, they nailed themselves in the coffin with that. That's what I was.
So what I also love too is we saw some celebrating, we saw a little jawing, and not in a harmful way, but all year I've been saying, like, this team has so much talent, and if they can just have some added juice or have some hammer to nail mentality, it's going to make a huge difference. And I think one of my favorites, Pop, I think you got like 2 yards on first down, like not a 15-yard play or anything. You get right up, and it's just like this. Like, you
Just
did
like
that every single play.
Every
Where does
time.
that come from? Like, where does that confidence come from? Like, was that something you were focused on, is bringing some of that juice? Like, where did that come from?
That's just me. Like, when I play football, I kind of play with an edge because, once again, like, people doubt me a lot. So it's like I go out there with an edge, and then I know I have a friend over at UVA that plays safety, and he was telling me all week, like, they basically wasn't worried about me, and that they was gonna put the belt on me. So I walked out there, and I had a fire under me, and I was gonna let them know about it. Like, we gonna do this, and we gonna do this for 4 quarters. So y'all just gotta get ready.
How about adjusting to the game speed? So I was watching, I don't know how this just came across kind of our radar, but Ed Williams sent me a podcast. You were on the Nickel Up podcast like a year ago.
Yeah.
And you were talking about like the speed of the game, the first college play you took. You said you got whacked, and the biggest adjustment
was bad. It was so bad.
Was just the overall speed of the game. So, like, do you think that, like, how did you adjust to the speed of the game? You're a guy with confidence, but everybody knows, like, I remember my first practice at Tech, and I was like, man, people are faster, people are stronger. Like, how did you adjust to that so quickly?
I mean, it just came with time and reps. Like, you're gonna have to go out there and make mistakes in practice, but in the game, really, you're just looking for that first hit, or you're looking for like that first completion, like just like that confidence booster. And I feel like as the Duke game went along, like, just the slower the game got. And Duke's a great team. They have a great secondary. They got a few of the best DBs in the nation, as I've seen. So I think for me to be able to go out there and execute against guys of that caliber, I think that just boosted my confidence for the game the week after, which was UVA. And the game was moving like high school again. I was seeing the field clearly. No rush in the pocket. I was poised. Triple C's cool, calm, and collective. So that's what I think. Just getting your first taste of something, like, you need a hit, or you need a completion. Maybe you need to make that first tackle. If you're on defense, you just need to hit something so the game could slow down for you.
Speaking of, like, the pocket presence and your like, what impressed me the most, and we talked about this at length in our post game, is your internal clock. Like, your processing and your chemistry with the wide receiver core, and you've had limited reps.
Right.
Is that something that you harnessed this year? Is it something that you've said? And I got to give Chris Riegert a lot of credit, not because I think he was in the film room. I know you saw the Instagram. He, a year ago, was like, Pop Watson, going to be the starter at some point. And he's been doing victory laps for the last 3 weeks. But I don't think that if a lot of Virginia Tech fans are being honest with themselves, they expected you as a freshman to be so polished as a passer. And, you know, maybe that comes with a chip on your shoulder or something else, or people aren't watching film. That was the biggest thing I was impressed with. How have you harnessed that and how have you worked on that? And quite frankly, how do you have such good chemistry with this wide receiver core that you've gotten limited reps with?
In the summer we work our tails off. So you got guys like Kyron, Quan Felton, Jay Lane, Ali, we're Steve. Like they're leading the charge in the summer workouts. And in the summer, it's not really about who you're throwing to, it's just about getting the reps. So in the summer I'm throwing with guys like Steve and Quan and Ali and Jay Lane, AG. But then I'm also throwing with guys like Fitzgerald, Takai Heath, Brody, Chance Wiggins. Like I'm throwing to everybody all summer. So that, and then we get in the fall camp. Obviously, I'm getting reps with the twos, some with the ones. So I knew I was gonna be ready whenever my number was called.
And then looking back on the year, as you came out of those summer workouts, what were some of your goals going into the season? You know, from a personal standpoint, what are some goals that you had? What did you accomplish? And then what are some things that you know you want to work on going into the offseason?
My goal was to solidify myself as two, and if my number was called, to be ready. Um, I got one of those goals done. I did get the two spot, but once again, I mean that's how chips fell. So I really I took that, and at first it was kind of like demotivating. Like I was upset. Um, Kind of like injury had played into it. I had pulled my hamstring during fall camp, so I was just like. Then you got a guy like Colin coming in, who's a great quarterback, strong arm, knows the game. So when you give somebody like him an opportunity like that, he's gonna make the most of it. So I just kind of had to play the cards I was dealt and just be ready all year because you never know what's gonna happen throughout the year. I always used to say, God forbid anybody gets hurt because I really don't wish it on anybody. I wish they could go to I wish Kyron can go to the league right now. I hope Colin goes to the league. Like I be telling those guys, like I might have more confidence in Colin going to the league than he does in himself. Like I think he's probably one of the better quarterbacks in college football. Um, but I just knew I would have to be ready throughout the year. Like I didn't know how, when, why, but I just told myself like you got to be ready whenever the number called. Because if you don't, like if you go out there and you just lay an egg on the field, like it's gonna be bad. Especially because I'm already behind the eight ball with the height and weight. So
I got to tell you, and this is not a question, and this is not me pumping up your tires, to hear a freshman talk about the way that you have been such a good teammate and also talk about how, like, if your goal is to be a two and fall camp rolls around, you're a three, you're hurt, you know, Kyron's the clear one, Colin Schlee's getting some play when he gets hurt. Like, it'd be very easy for somebody just to shut it down and be like, you know what, whatever, I'm going to leave. I'm going to just hang out the rest of the year and screw around for. I just got to tip my cap to you, man, for being so focused and into it. And it seems like those are table stakes, but especially in this age of NIL and transfer portal, like a lot of people, a lot of your peers across the country don't view it that way. So not a question, just wanted to bubble that up to the top.
yeah, I got to give credit to Kyron, Colin, and all the coaches just keeping me in it because like once again, like how you say, like it's easy to, take the back seat and just, ride the wave for the rest of the year. But they always told me, like, listen, like you never know what's gonna happen. Like you got to be ready. So they just kept preparing, like I was gonna play that weekend. One thing happened to another, and I was a two. Now you're starting UVA, like, and that's just how the chips fell. So I, it really wasn't just me. Like it was those guys. Like they helped me a lot with it.
I know you guys got a Mayo Bowl coming up, but even just beyond, kind of this next phase, you have the Mayo Bowl, you have the off season, you have spring practice. What are some of the new goals as you hit the reset button and go into 2025?
Um, well, the main goal is to win a championship. Um, I want to win the ACC, and I definitely want to go to college football playoffs, and I want to go win that too. So that's my main goal, and winning is my main goal. We haven't had the best seasons. We haven't lived up to expectations. I know last year going 6-6 was kind of like a oil up, but this year was like all right, we're supposed to be a 9 to 10 win team, and we didn't do that because of execution issues in fourth quarters. So this year, I know we're harping on it already. Like we started already. Just being able to not just finish games, but execute even when you're tired, when things are going wrong. Like just winning, like having a winning mentality, approach with like the necessary mentality.
Originally I was going to ask you kind of to speak about some younger receivers that you're excited with on the future. And I'm curious to know what your answer is on that. But I also am curious to know, like, how are you approaching this next 6 weeks, right? There's going to be a lot of player movement in, out, everything else. And we've seen it before across the country, how like that can completely derail a team. It's also so funny last year when you saw that player movement at a school like Colorado, everyone's like, man, Dion doesn't have it. They can't figure it out. And they were knocking on the door to the playoffs. So personally yourself, how are you approaching these next 6 weeks and avoiding all of the noise? Because we know there's going to be a bunch of noise. There are going to be people who listen to this podcast whenever they're listening to it, and they're going to be fired up, can't wait for next year. We're going to win every game. And they're going to be the same people the next day who so-and-so is in the portal or such and such happens. They're going to be like, man, we're going to be awful next year. How do you separate yourself from all of that nonsense?
You pull guys closer. I think our approach next year is going to be to lean on each other because I feel like when a team has a lot of me involved, like, well, I gotta do this to get to the league and I gotta do this to get to the league, like that's how a team ends up losing. So next year, me stepping into a bigger role, I will be harping on like the we part of football. Like some days is not gonna be my day to throw. Like you see it like the Boston College game, Bay Shaw rushes for 260 plus. Like, man, the wide receivers, y'all better be happy to block. Like y'all better have a smile on your face. Cause some days it's gonna be a passing day and the running back's not gonna touch the ball, but they better be happy in that pass pro because that's what the necessary needs is to win. So whatever we gotta do to win is what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna harp on that as much as I can because I feel like when people start worrying about me, that's when stuff start going downhill. Because coaches looking at statistics, okay, but coaches gonna look at a team who's winning first. So whoever got wins, I feel like coaches right now would take a guy from a Georgia or a Texas because they're winning. So they'll take a second string from Georgia or Texas before they take a guy on a 6-6 team because they're winning. So we want to win, and that's gonna get everybody where they want to go.
We just had signing day a few days ago, and you came in 2023 with a massive class. We're like 27 guys in that class. And, know that guys like Dante, C. Wood, AG, Mose, Takai, Jeremiah Coney have all been able to contribute so far. Between the 2023 class and also the guys behind you in the 2024 class, who are some of the leaders that going into this offseason, going into next year, the Hokie Nation should be pretty fired up to have on our side?
I would say obviously Aiden, obviously C. Wood, Quinn Reddish. Quinn Reddish is gonna be a problem. Mose Phillips is gonna be a problem. Like those four, I feel like really all the young guys that are here are gonna be good because I think we all have the same mentality, like the same approach to the game. Like whatever we gotta do to win, we're gonna go do it. So I think, and we all got that edge. Like I think you kind of see it when Mose and C. Wood make a tackle. Like you can kind of see the fire that ignites in them. And when AG makes a play, like he's not AG's not an arrogant guy, but the way he plays football, I call him like ignorant almost. Like he makes you feel dumb just the way he plays ball. Like he'll catch a pass and he likes to hold the ball with one hand away from you after he catches it. Then he'll try to like give you like a little shove before he go down. So I think the swag that is coming in right now and that is rising to the top, I think we should be excited for it.
So, Pop, we're moving into our rapid fire section. This is fun. We talked about ball. This is kind of letting the hair down a little bit. This is the hardest question, though, that we will ask. Usually stumps everybody. If you could go to dinner with 4 people, dead or alive, who are the 4 people going to dinner, and where are you going to eat?
Going to Steak 38, or is it Steak 48 in Charlotte? 38 or 40? 48?
48.
48.
Steak 48.
Great pick.
My grandfather. My dad. I don't even know who else I would take after them two. I mean, obviously, I want to take my mom. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, I'm trying to think of somebody famous that I want to take. My issue is I don't be starstruck. Like, I kind of be like, I don't know. I probably go grandfather, grandmother, mom, and dad.
It's a
Yeah,
family affair at Steak 48.
yeah. Cause I'm not a big starstruck guy. So
I got you.
yeah.
All right, so away from Steak 48, come up to Blacksburg. Say mom, dad, grandma, grandpa coming into Blacksburg. Where are you taking them to eat? Where's your favorite spot to get a bite to eat in Blacksburg, Virginia?
Between Mellow Mushroom and PK's.
Great
Pizza guy.
spots. There is no Steak 48 though. We need it.
We need a lot of things out here. I'm gonna get a petition started to get a Wingstop. We need a Wingstop because they got rid of Zaxby's. So if you're gonna get rid of Zaxby's, you gotta give us Wingstop at least. I feel like that's just like common courtesy.
Hold on. Pop, I think you could run for mayor off of this podcast and the last game you played in. Do you have any other petitions you want to start for Blacksburg? Like, let's talk blueprint moving forward.
Okay, so we're gonna start simple. Obviously, we're gonna go Wingstop. Then we're gonna try to take a lot of street lights out. I hate getting stuck downtown because it's 7 stoplights in the span of probably a half a mile.
Yep.
So we're gonna probably take like 3 of those out.
Gone.
Yeah. Then I like everything else. Everything else is cool. Like everything else is like perfect for me. Like I mean, it's enough to have fun, also enough to not get in trouble though. But yeah, like my main thing, we're gonna keep the main thing the main thing. I need the Wingstop. So I don't know who I have to talk to, but you just gotta get me in line with those guys, and we gotta make that happen.
We'll work with you on it. We'll do everything that we absolutely can to get that done. I've never heard anybody say we need less stoplights, but you may have just uncovered a problem that we do have.
It's more wing stop, less stop lights.
He's on to something. He's cooking.
There we go. That's the campaign.
Print the shirts. I want to talk a little bit about Massachusetts. Everybody that listens to this podcast knows Boston is my favorite city on the East Coast, maybe in America. Place rocks. It's amazing. Thank you for the thumbs up. They literally invented America and print championships. So I'm just going to ask you some questions about Boston and Massachusetts in general. So number one, who is on your Boston sports Mount Rushmore? You can't put yourself on there. So who's on it?
That's tough. That's actually. Dang. Well, gotta go. Mike Sanistrell plays for the Washington Commanders now. Michigan guy. Jonel Aguero, star at Georgia. Samson, I don't know how to say his last. I think Okaluna. He left tackle at Miami right now. Those 2 guys are both in my class too. And I'm trying to think of another pioneer.
I mean, you've named a couple young guys. You know, we do also have like Larry Bird and, you know.
Oh, you're talking Larry Bird from Massachusetts?
He's not from Massachusetts, but he did play.
I was doing guys from Massachusetts.
Oh,
you're just doing in Massachusetts.
Sure. No, I was just talking. I was talking Boston lore, but I like the way the direction that you took
it. Okay. So let's go Boston lore then. Obviously, gotta go Tom Brady, Larry Bird.
I mean, there's a pretty famous William.
Bill Russell.
Thank you.
Got to.
And there's another Pop.
There is.
It's Greg Pop.
Poppy.
Boston Red Sox. Did play Big
Oh,
Poppy.
Poppy. That was I had
That was
trouble putting two and two I had trouble putting two and two together. That was tough.
Yeah, he was a great. I'm trying to think who else though. Yeah, I mean those four are Boston sports. Like they got it the biggest. So yeah,
There we go.
I think yeah. Tom Brady, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, and Big Poppy. Yeah, that's a good four. That's a good four.
What is the best thing about Massachusetts and the worst thing about Massachusetts?
Best thing to me is everything is next to each other. Worst thing is how cold it gets.
Mm.
Um, it kind of gets like bone, like you can feel it in your bones. Like, and this is not a joke. This is like serious. Like you can really feel it. Like when you step outside in your bones, like, it gets so cold. And then you have to go play football in that. So when I was younger, I really didn't know how to dress warm. So my feet used to be so cold. It felt like you running on like cement. Like you don't feel the turf when it's
Yeah.
that cold. So it felt like I was running on cement. So
Pop, it's funny because leading up to the UVA game, when there were like rumblings you were going to play, some people were saying, like, Pop Watson, man, he's small, hands are going to be cold, freshman quarterback stepping in. I said, this kid grew up in Massachusetts.
yeah, I'm gonna adjust.
If you're unfamiliar with the cold, when I visited Boston College back in this must have been 2012 or 2013. I visited in December. It was 6 degrees. This is not like your prototypical 6 degrees. Like if you're walking outside, like in the Boston Common or anywhere, it's the wind, it's the humidity. It's like people complain about walking across the drill field, and yeah, it sucks. It's nothing like going outside
Cannot compare.
in Massachusetts or the New England area during. You probably don't listen to Noah Khan, but stick season, it's tough. It's tough up in Massachusetts.
Horrible. Hey, man, like being cold back home is probably one of the worst feelings ever because you can't avoid it. Like there's nothing you can do. Like you have to suck that up. Like that like playing football in December, like you almost gotta embrace it. Like, all right, it's cold outside, gotta get it done. So that cold is the worst.
Last Massachusetts one from me. If you're bringing some of the fellas back to Springfield for break, right? Got a couple of days off, hopping on Delta Airlines back to Boston Logan, great airport. What is on the itinerary? Where you like I want to show you Springfield. I want to show you some Mass. Where are we going?
If I have to show people Massachusetts, I would not take them to Springfield. We can get good food out there, great food. The people though, I wouldn't do that. I'd probably go somewhere else. We'd probably go out. So actually, I live 2 hours away from Boston. Like I'm out west. So
Western Mass.
yeah. So we could go to my house. We could work out in Springfield and stuff, but if we want to go do something, we would have to drive to Boston. So driving to Boston, or we could drive to Rhode Island. Like Rhode Island, like an hour and 30 from me. We could even go to New York City, but I just wouldn't keep them in Springfield. Like there's nothing to do out there. Like, it's just asking for trouble, honestly.
Newport, Rhode Island, extremely underrated. I'm sure you're familiar. Right over in Rhode Island, underrated state, to be honest.
Rhode Island, I know the credit it deserves.
It does not get the credit it deserves because you only are in it for 10 seconds if you're driving through it.
It is the Christmas and holiday season. What is your favorite Christmas song and best Christmas movie?
Christmas song, I'll come back to it. Best Christmas movie, Home Alone, by far. Yeah. All the Home Alone. None of those missed. Best Christmas song, I'm gonna say Feliz Navidad because we had to sing it at elementary school. So,
banger.
Yeah.
That's a hit. Want to hear about your inspiration growing up or even now? Did you ever study other quarterbacks with similar structure, similar stature, such as like a Kyler Murray or Bryce Young, to learn how to be an effective runner while also protecting yourself in the pocket?
So, I became a good runner because my older brother played running back in high school. So when I was born, he was around like 14 years old, 15, and I was watching him all my life. This guy, like I still like. It took me 4 years to get what he rushed for in one season. I rushed for 2,000 and some yards in high school. He did that in 1 year. Like he was unreal. So I know he was on like the shorter end. He's a physical dude, but you're 5'9", about 165, 170. I mean, not too many schools gonna look at you. But like that's where I learned how to run the ball. Now when it came to watching quarterbacks, like obviously I was a Mike Vick fan. Uh so it was kind of almost a full circle moment coming here too. But yeah, I watched Mike Vick growing up, and it's crazy because my first year of football, I had numbers to pick from 1, 5, and 7. I almost picked number 7. Like I almost did it. Like I was gonna wear number 7 for my whole life, but I think I wanted to like be my own person with like, but still imitate other people's game and make it my own. So yeah, I think growing up watching Mike Vick and watching my older brother play football is kind of that helped me imitate their game.
So it's bowl season, Selection Sunday. Some of these bowl games and kind of how bowl games are now, you need to dive into the gimmicks, right? The Pop-Tart Bowl has like this massive Pop-Tart like dancing on stage. It's kind of crazy. The Mayo Bowl, you got guys taking mayo baths. You got, Shane Beamer did it really well when he was, dumped mayo on a few years ago when they won the Mayo Bowl.
They hit him in the head with the thing. Like they hit him with the jug. It was crazy.
I just can't do mayo like that. Like I can't. Coach, you know who loves mayo like that? Coach Bowen. If we poured a jar of mayo on him, he would probably be the happiest man on that field that day.
All right, so we might have to see if Coach Bowen is open to that task. I think they're dumping mayo on the winning coach this year. But my question for you, Pop: one coach on the team and one player on the team that you would want to see take the mayo bath after Virginia Tech wins the bowl game.
Coach Bowen and Kyron Drones.
It's I feel like it's a punishment. They gotta get
Coach
like
Bowen's gonna be happy. Kyron will be so mad. Kyron will be mad. That'll be the joy I get out of it.
Pop, before we got one question submitted by a fan. I want to give you the opportunity. Do you have any questions for us? I know we have interviewed you here for 44 minutes. Do you have any questions for us on anything?
Are you guys excited for next year?
I mean, I got to be honest with you. This year, obviously a challenge, right? I'm a positron, but I'm also realistic. It was a labor of love a lot of times. Turning on the TV, making the trips. We were at Duke, we were at Nashville, we were everywhere else. And I got to tell you, before this UVA game, Pop, I was having a tough time. Was upset. And I got to say, the fight and the inertia and the excitement that you all played with to whoop up on them. And honestly, I knew this team had it in them. Like, we're a talented team, and we really just needed to bring some juice, and we brought some juice. And I think the momentum going into next year, there are so many people pulling in the right direction from the inside, from the outside, and everywhere else. And I think transparently, again, not pumping your tires, but the juice that you brought and the excitement that you brought, I think has a lot of people excited, where if that game went a different direction, the internet, as it is directed and correlated with Virginia Tech, would have been a very dark and upset place. And I appreciate you helping us avoid it, because we do have to talk about it every week. Yeah. And it would have been a real bummer to jump on and talk about it going the other way. So that's my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll weigh in here. I think there's a lot of youth on this team. Even just sitting down with you for almost an hour here and, kind of learn a little bit about you, learn a little bit about some of the guys that you're coming up with, like a Quentin Reddish, for example, that these guys are going to grow in the program year over year. I also think that this program and this coaching staff is undefeated so far in off seasons. I think we've had some really good off season moves. I think we've hit the portal well. So I think there's always an opportunity to be excited next season. But I think we all want to see some good stuff happen over the next few weeks and have that flow into this portal season and spring ball too. But yeah, I definitely am always excited for the next year.
All right, good. All right. Oh, I got y'all. So let's do it.
Pop, last question from Justin Cates. What was the biggest rush of getting thrust into action and being the starter against UVA? I got to tell you, my personal favorite, if I had to rank some of them, the celebrations were great. The win was awesome. But the whole mystique around what you wrote on the board after the game. So the camera never went to it. We had to wait until there were pictures. I thought they were avoiding the board because you would have wrote something crazy on it. Not because I think you would do it. I was just like, why are they not showing this board? And of course they show it and it just says ball game, which is objectively hilarious. But what was the biggest thrill or the biggest rush for you after getting thrust into the action?
After the game, seeing my family, just being able to, putting myself in their shoes, being able for them to see me get to ball on this level, and all the support I got after the game, fans rushing me, asking for pictures and signatures and stuff like that. So I think that was the biggest moment for me was my little sister was the most excited fan in that stadium the whole night, and she was sober. So yeah.
Oh, you're on mute, Billy.
I was going to say, I hope your little sister was sober, Pop. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, man, she's sober, and I think she was probably the most energetic person in that stadium the whole time. So being able to give that kind of excitement to my family was probably the biggest rush for me. That's what everybody does it for. They want their family to be happy. So that was probably my biggest thing.
Pop, this was great. You are welcome on the show anytime. Hopefully we can do this again.
For sure.
Looking forward to Charlotte.
Yes, sir.
We are going to have a large conglomerate there. I got to look at the schedule. I got to get home, see the family for Christmas, but I'm planning on being there.
Yeah.
Best of luck. And looking forward to the future here. This is great. Pop, let's go. WWII, whatever. Money signs. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it, and let's do it big, Pop.
Let's do it.